I love film. From the Tarantinos to the Finches, there's nothing that matches the kinetic energy found within this medium. There's something extremely unique found in the melding of images and sound that truly immerses viewers in an experience. They can be terrifying, they can be sloppy, they can be hilarious, thrilling, testosterone-fueled. The fact is, they're awesome. It seems that in recent times, however, there's an apprehension to a certain kind of film. Viewers tend to tune into media that captures the cultural zeitgeist, that's snappy, that's familiar, instead of taking risks. And to be honest, I think it's a shame. I'm saddened by the fact that when I see something like Killers of the Flower Moon, made by Martin Scorsese, who's a master of cinema, my theatre was flooded by elderly people. There wasn't a young person in sight for something so critically acclaimed. Now let's not pretend that Scorsese's films were mostly popular upon release. He's had a history of flops that later became cult classics. Also, it's hard to get people in a theatre to see a 3-hour film, although there are some exceptions like Endgame and Avatar 2. Irrespective of this fact, in this interconnected world, it's sad to see that a 15-second TikTok is more likely to stem a conversation pertaining to film, opposed to sheer awesomeness of the film itself.
Okay, I'm going to explain to you, or I'm going to ask you, to guess what specific slang terms mean. And okay, I'll tell you.
Again, younger generations nowadays only seem interested in things that have a stake in the cultural conversation, or are based upon pre-established brands like the recently released Five Nights at Freddy's movie that was more like a cultural event opposed to a film, as evidenced by the massive drop-off the movie had in its second weekend. Suffice to say, this kind of shift has occurred, and it's a shame. Today we'll be taking a look at the modern day superhero film, then subsequently looking at television, then shifting our eyes to take a look at more alternative independent cinema to highlight that there is still a golden age of content transpiring under the surface. Ah yes, the superhero film. Now, let's be frank, most of these movies are just little fun, inconsequential theme park rides, providing a pleasant fun day out with friends or family. However, there are some of these films that are trying to tell a story of substance. Most of these films are disposable, they're fun, but I don't think they're most likely to be talked about in the next 10 years. There's little content in these movies that actually further the story. These films follow generic genre and story tropes, changing the protagonist ever so slightly by the film's completion, but not too much so that the viewers will be totally out of whack if they tune in to the next installment. I think that this kind of film isn't dead as many on the internet would like to suggest, and no, it's not due to some woke cabal of leftists. It's due to a total saturation of content and the fact that a lot of these characters in which audiences used to love no longer have as big roles as they used to have in newer media. Moreover, in recent times, superhero films are focusing on characters that have had less love in the cultural lexicon. For example, why has there been 2 Shazam films before we even got a Man of Steel sequel? Additionally, I think it is evident through the popularity of shows such as Invincible and The Boys that audiences are craving much more mature stories that challenge these notions of what it means to be a superhero, that challenges the establishment set by Marvel and DC, therefore providing a unique experience for audiences that makes the content feel worthwhile and not disposable. How consequential was Black Adam? Moreover, shows can take their time in exploring multiple storylines that intersect, that can add more sympathy or empathy to villainous characters. Look at how worryingly some fans reacted to the character of Homelander and Omni-Man. They were a little too appreciative of them if you ask me. It seems that the popularity of these shows aren't going away anytime soon, opposed to Marvel movies right now, which are seemingly in shambles. But who knows, maybe the introduction of the X-Men will change this. Only time will tell. Oh, and while I'm at it, what the hell happened to the amazing kids superhero shows of the past? I loved the Wolverine and the X-Men, Batman the Animated Series, and the spectacular Spider-Man. You companies need to get your game up, because what the hell has been happening the past few years? Now please don't fall asleep while I talk about indie cinema for a little bit. We have to admit to some degree that art is subjective, but I'd be lying if I didn't admit that I love more smaller budget, independent films. Often published by studios like Focus Features and A24, these films can be absolutely amazing at times, and I feel like they need more love. I find that with this level of film, only media within the horror genre is appreciated, such as this year's Talk to Me and other movies such as Hereditary and Midsummer by Ari Aster. Regardless, there is a plethora of smaller dramas that I wish got more love, like Waves, which experiments with the narrative form in its structure. However, hopefully this trend will be flipped as audiences search for more challenging content. But for this to be successful, please studios, release your films in all countries at the same time, for the love of God. I don't want to be having to wait months to catch something like The Holdovers, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if I can hold over till Christmas time. Good old Saint Nick might have a heart attack by then. Ultimately, sure, it's hard to find quality content that makes a lot of money, but on the other hand, it's not like these kinds of films don't exist. Go check out an A24 movie, go to a film festival that's themed, or an international one. There's a plethora of films just waiting to be consumed that have been crafted by passionate creatives that have a story to tell. In summation, yes, cinemas don't seem as popular as they once were to some degree. Whether this is due to the evolution of technology and the advancement of television in the household is still up for debate. But the fact of the matter is, there's still a golden nugget under this plethora of content, under this swath of rubbish, and frankly, I wish more channels would take note of this instead of this hyper-fixation of diverse characters appearing in media. So, before I wrap up, I'd like to share some interesting films that I've seen this year. If you want something really chill and slower paced, then try Perfect Days by Wim Wenders, which is a fantastic film. If that's not your style, then check out something more snappy and comedic like Bottoms or Theatre Camp. Or if you want something darker or has a flair of horror, try out The Killer or Beau's Afraid. These are just a few awesome films that have released this year alone, and in my view, they deserve much more love. Much more than the newest Captain Marvel, but anyway, that's beside the point. Anyways, that's all I wanted to get across in this video. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more weekly content. Have a bloody great day. Bye!